The University of Ghana on Monday extended the time limit given to commercial drivers who ply the campus from 15 to 20 minutes. However, the new time frame has not allayed the concerns of drivers.
Welcome to a very special edition of PENSDOWN. This is the program where we sit with journalists. We get to understand their journey through their crafts. They get to tell us all the behind-the-scenes issues they grapple with in their bid to package the news, gather the news, present the news, and every other thing in between. Today, I have a very special guest with me. He's a colleague. He's a television broadcaster. He's a broadcast journalist and disability rights advocate. He lost his sight at the age of 5. He attended School for the Blind, Ekropon, where he learned how to read and write Braille. He holds a bachelor's degree in education from the University of Cape Coast. He has passion for journalism and sees the crafts as a service to one's community. He is the first visually impaired TV news anchor in Ghana. He now has his own television show called Christian Connect, which airs on ETV Ghana. He believes every child with disability is capable of rising to the highest level when given the right support. He has received a number of awards, among which are the prestigious Emmy Awards and also the Disability Excellence Award. My guest is happily married with 2 beautiful daughters. Paul AnomahKordieh is my guest. You're welcome, my brother.
Thank you so much, Stephen. Thank you.
Now, first of all, one thing about you that blows me away is your language skills. You speak, your English is so clear. How did you make it? Is English some sort of air that you breathe?
Well, I thank you, and thank you so much for having me on such a great program, and congratulations for the great work that you are doing.
Thank you.
Well, I see everything that I have as a gift from God, because if it's good, for example, I'm not somebody who has traveled and say maybe you've lived abroad or you've had that kind of exposure. So
yeah.
I think it is by the grace of God, and it's a gift from Him to be able to do the work that He has called me to do.
Journalism and you are a special kind of person because of the issue of your side. Why did you choose journalism even after reading education in the university?
Yes, thank you very much, Stephen. So I don't know, but I just have a passion for journalism. But growing up, one thing that inspired me, especially in the early 2000s and late 90s, we didn't have much radio stations and many TV stations. But sometimes you hear people talk about persons with disabilities, and you know that the people do not really understand the issues concerning persons with disabilities. So I had the idea that, okay, so if I am able to join, then I'll be able to correct all these misconceptions or some things like making fun of persons with disabilities. Yes, and I also see journalism, as you read, as a way of serving one's community or even an entire nation. And these days is almost like the whole world.
That's right.
And it's exciting, you know, when you give somebody information that a person didn't know before. And, you know, lack of information can even kill somebody.
That's right.
So providing the right kind of information to people was one of my joy or inspirations to enter into journalism.
Now, television is a visual medium. Where does a visually impaired television broadcaster or presenter fit in? Why television and nothing else?
Okay, thank you very much. I actually started as a radio broadcaster.
Okay.
And to be honest, I love radio. And I usually say that one day when I'm a bit older, I may go into radio and do some kind of, maybe some different things. But, you know, TV also came in alongside. And I realized that because I was visually impaired and I was reading the news, using the braille, it attracted a lot of people. People saw my fingers moving on the papers, or later on I got what we call braille note.
Okay.
And they marveled. So I felt that, okay, so this one, they see you do it. And people are very excited about it. People are inspired by it. So yeah, it is not I who is watching the television, but if you have the sight and you are watching, I believe that it inspires you. And even more, many blind persons or visually impaired persons also enjoy watching television. So personally, I'm not a TV person, but I know a lot of visually impaired persons who really enjoy watching movies and other things, but I enjoy even listening to radio even more.
Okay, I see. Now, you were a newscaster when you went to television. Now you are a show host. You have your own show you are running on television. Now, run me through the beginning stages, the early stages of your television career. How challenging was it getting used to the platform, or was it easy?
And thank you very much, Stephen. So my journey actually started when I was at the University of Cape Coast.
Okay.
And I approached a number of them. By then we had ATL, and then we also had Radio Vaco. Okay. But I finally got opportunity to work with Radio Vaco. Unfortunately, it didn't last that long, and they had to close the station down. But by then, I had had a taste of journalism, and I didn't want it to let it go. And fortunately, there was another new television station which had come in Cape Coast New. That's Coastal TV.
Okay.
So I approached the owners, Mr. Nyame and his wife. And yes, they gave me also the opportunity to do a weekly news there as well.
Okay.
So that's how the television came in. But when I was in the University of Cape Coast and Radio Vaco was closed down, I was reporting for Choice FM.
In Accra here?
Yes. And during vacation.
Hold on. When you say you were reporting, you mean you were going on the beats, covering stories and reporting on those stories, right?
Yes, but it wasn't as vigorous as it was. Okay. So let me say that the Radio Vaco, when I went there, I had a lot of great friends who were there, people like Seth Kwame Boateng.
Okay.
And then now we have Dr. Yao Sewonu. He's now a lecturer at Winnipeg. He was the general manager. Okay. And then Richard Kwajonya, who is now the Central Regional Correspondent for
Multimedia.
Multimedia, yes.
Yeah.
So Um, Kwame, when Sef Kwame Boateng completed, he moved to Choice FM.
Okay.
So one day I called him and I said, "Oh, okay, I wanted to report to Choice FM," and I was even doing it jokingly, and he said, "Okay." So the next time I called him, he allowed somebody to answer the call and ask whether I have a story to report. So I realized he was serious. So Richard Kwajonya was my roommate.
Okay.
So what he was doing, he was then reporting for multimedia then.
Okay.
So when he goes for the story and when he writes for multimedia, then I also take it and also write for Choice FM as well.
From your own angle?
Yes, from my own angle.
Okay.
And so that's how come I was reporting, but once a while I also moved out with him as well and covered some stories as well. Yes.
How challenging was covering a story on the field? How challenging was it?
It was very challenging because first of all, I wasn't formally trained.
Okay.
And then two, because of my sight as well, because and sometimes when I was in school, you also didn't have much resources, as in recorders and those things. So it made it a bit difficult. So yes, so it was very challenging. But as I said, with my friend Richard, we're able to do the little that we could.
How long have you been in journalism altogether?
Altogether, I think I started with Radio Vaco in 2007. So perhaps we have to do the calculations together.
Okay, so that's about 15 years. That's about 15 years.
Yes.
Because 2017 is 10 years.
Yes.
And then we have 5 more. Yes.
Now. Yes.
15 good years in journalism.
Yes.
How many more years would you want to go with journalism before you, stay off the camera or bow
out? Thank you very much. I am not sure whether I really want to totally go off media.
Okay.
I think that there are a lot more things that I need to do in the media. I think I have not accomplished much of the things I want to do, especially in getting other persons with disabilities or other visually impaired persons also on the space. Of course, there are other people, but I would love to see other people reading news like I used to. So I may not necessarily be on the screens or on the microphone, but I would wish to be in a position where I'll be able to help other people as well.
Okay. At what point while growing up did you discover the journalist in you, or a passion or a love for journalism?
Well, so I think it was when I was at School for the Blind, and as I indicated earlier, where I loved listening to radio, and sometimes you hear people talk about things and you feel, though, this is not right. I mean, if you were in my shoes, you wouldn't perhaps say that, or it's pure ignorance. So I want to get into the space, and I also love doing it. So yes, maybe when I was in, not maybe, when I was at School for the Blind, somewhere 2000, that is 1990, the late 90s, yes.
Okay.
98, 99, thereabout. Yes.
Okay. You are in journalism, but when you went to University of Cape Coast, you studied education. Why didn't you go to a journalism institution, training institution?
Yes, that's a very interesting one. So I, first of all, do not come from a rich background.
Okay.
And by then, I didn't know of any visually impaired person who was into media. And the issue was, if you should go for a journalism school, and after that, you do not get any job as a visually impaired person, and you have to come and sit in the house for your parents to continue to feed you, that was a risk I didn't want to take. That's
Okay.
one. Two, we didn't also have, and I think still, we do not have journalism institutions that have made their facilities accessible to visually impaired persons. So you didn't know that, okay, if I go to this school or that school, I will get the necessary support that I need. And so what I did was to go to University of Cape Coast, do Bachelor of Education, in which for that many of us or many visual impaired persons have the opportunity to teach in the classroom. But what I did was not to abandon the dream that I had. So when I went and I realized that there were campus-based stations and all that, I got excited and started exploring the opportunities.
How long were you a newscaster when you got to ETV? For how many years did you read news?
Yes, I think I read news for about 8 years.
Okay.
Yes, I read news for about 8 years at ETV Ghana. But I started as a national service person with Happy FM, with the same Global Media Alliance broadcasting. So during my national service, I was at with Happy FM, and with Sena Atoklo, he was holding a program called World at 5.
World at 5, yeah.
Yeah. So I was part of the team. I was doing the sports segment on it. Unfortunately, I'm not a sports person as well. Like those of you who are so, you love your sports and you have your teams and you cheer them on. I didn't know much about it. And but that was the opportunity available for me, and I took it. And I think moved on to the main news as well. Of course, I was with the main news, but on air, I was doing the sports segment.
Okay. You have done 15 years in journalism. I mean, from university campus until up to the field itself. If we are to roll back the hands of time, 17 years, are you still going to choose journalism?
Stephen, this is a very hard question. But I must say, yes, I will do journalism again if I'm given the opportunity.
Okay.
If I'm given the opportunity, I'll do journalism again and again, because I feel that what I did or what I continue to do inspires people, encourages people. That if somebody without sight has been able to do this, then I will also be able to do it. One thing that we use our sight for, or our eyes for, is to read. But I do not have the sight to read. And yet God gave me my fingers to be able to use to read the news. And people are inspired by it. People are encouraged. And that alone gives me satisfaction to be able to make impact. But of course, maybe on the other side, if it comes to finances, then one would say no. But what I would say is that I would have still done journalism, but perhaps would have been wiser and find a better way of getting at least some good money, if not on the journalism field, perhaps on other fields as well.
Does journalism pay? Let me top up with that question. Does it pay?
It pays on the impact that you want to make.
Okay.
But financially, for me, I have not seen that. Yes, but I believe that depending on your motive, if you want to make some impacts, then it is an exciting job because you report on issues and people are supported. I mean, it's so exciting, the kind of impact journalism make. However, it is the financial aspect on your personal life that perhaps sometimes may discourage you. But if you yourself also see the kind of impact you have made in the lives of people, then you can sit down and smile to yourself that even if you do not have that kind of financial reward, you know that you've made somebody's life better.
What has been the most challenging day in your life as a journalist?
Stephen, I don't know whether I remember it, but you know, when I was entering initially, I wouldn't say the most challenging, but I mean, when you are entering, there are a lot of things you do not know. And me, who was not trained, there are a lot of ethics that I feel I didn't do well. So, for example, reading the news in Braille, using the Braille is very difficult. Sometimes it's slow. So a day that it doesn't go well, I remember one day, immediately after the news I signed, I just sat down and just raised my head like this in the chair, just looking into the air. And meanwhile, the camera was still on me. And I didn't know that, you know. And initially too, my problem was that when I'm on air and I miss a story, if I don't read it well, I was not coming back strong. It affected the rest of the bulletin. But later on, all these, by the grace of God, was able to overcome them. And then here we are where God has brought us. Yes.
How much of a support did you get from your superiors and your colleagues alike, especially within the Global Media Alliance family, that made it easy for you to settle in and become comfortable and deliver what you were asked to do?
Stephen, I must say the support has been massive from both colleagues and my superiors. Mr. Boateng, Ernest Boateng and Edward Boateng, they have always supported me and they have always taken interest in the kind of things that I do. I know sometimes there are restructuring and a lot of things, so I may not be doing a lot as I think I should be doing. But I think for support from colleagues, especially from the beginning and even now, has been very, very good. And so, for example, initially when my stories are ready, somebody would have to sit with me and read the stories to me so that I can write them in Braille. They inquired to find out whether there's a better way of doing that. And so we went to the Ghana Blind Union and they suggested the Braille note, which they purchased for me. So if that one, you only have to put the stories on a pen drive, and then when you slot it into that Braille note, it just comes in Braille. So that even if you have some few minutes before you go on air, you are able to go, instead of somebody sitting with you, reading everything for you before you are able to go on air.
You now are a program host. You host, I am sure, fully sighted and maybe sometimes visually impaired people on your show. What has been the reaction of your panelists? Do they all know this is the person who is hosting the show ahead of the show? Or some of them come and it is like they are shocked or they are surprised to see you do this? Well, have you had some truly exciting or truly surprising reactions from any of them?
Oh, yes. Thank you, Stephen. So some have been very, very surprised, and others also do not take notice.
Oh,
and then
okay.
These days, I do tell a lot of them when they come. But I remember there was a day somebody came and said, "Oh, please check. Before you go, they show the name of the person on the screen or something, and pointed out that, look, my name has been misspelled."
Okay.
And I told him, no, I'm a visually impaired person, so I had to draw the attention. So he was shocked. I said, "Oh, okay." So many of them get surprised that, okay, he is a visually impaired person. And sometimes, too, when they come, and those days without COVID, and you had to shake hands, and if there are something unusual, then they will detect it. Or some of them will come and just wave you, give you a wave, and if you don't respond,
that's
because
right.
they don't know why they should wave or like do something and you don't react. So when they later get to know it, but none of my guests has been hostile as to know that I'm visually impaired, so the person is being hostile or something. No, there hasn't been it. Some have been very surprised. Some have taken it calmly. Some have also associated themselves with persons with visually impaired persons before, so it's not a surprise to them at all.
Let me put this question to you. It's a running debate on PENSDOWN, this platform. Should journalists be licensed? I want your honest take on this.
Licensed? Well, I think that every profession, you need a license to operate officially. So I think that with the emergence of social media and other things, it's difficult to say that we are going to license all these people. So I think that if journalists are licensed, perhaps it will differentiate between those who are just doing it for fun and those who are doing it professionally. So I think that it will not be a very bad idea. I don't have much reason, but I think that it may make people to differentiate those who are just on social media doing their own things and those who are doing serious journalism. That's what I'll say.
Okay. Solely is the cash always carried in white envelopes that are handed to journalists after some event they go to cover, or sometimes when some newsmaker wants you to do one story or the other for them. What is your honest, I'm sure having been in the profession for over 10 years, if you are heading towards 2 decades, what is your honest take on Solly?
Solly. So I think that if people are paid well, okay, so let me put it this way.
Okay.
So everyone who works in a media house, you are supposed to be paid and perhaps be paid well. So if you receive your pay,
Yes.
and I don't think even if it's small or huge, you are supposed to take your pay.
Yes.
And not something to bribe you or to influence your story.
Yeah.
However, I think that, so for example, in teaching, for example, the teachers, sometimes at the end of the term, you see parents sending gifts to their children to be given to their teachers. Is that solely, or how would that be called? There are some professions, you do some things and people appreciate it and give you something. So I think that if people appreciate you later on for something wonderful that you have done, I think there isn't any problem with it. Somebody can take a gift from somebody. But the issue comes when somebody would have to give you money in order to write the story in a way that you yourself know that even some of the facts you are putting there is not right, or is not correct. So I think that if it's a gift and it is called solid, then I think it is fine. But no matter how big it is, it should not influence your story or how you carry on with your program. And it should also not be demanded. It should not be demanded. If you go and you cover your story, you come and do your story. If somebody gives you something, that is fine. If not, you move on because you are already paid at your office.
That's right. Journalism has suffered a lot of attrition. So many qualified, trained professionals are leaving the fold in droves. Some are getting into public relations, others are moving into entirely different fields. I'm sure there are colleagues you have worked with or you know who were once in active journalism, but today they are somewhere else. What do you think is accounting for this attrition, or what are your colleagues who have left telling you?
I think most of it may be the pay, the financial reward in journalism. And there are others, and that may be few, whom would like to try new things, move on and take on new challenges. And I know that some have gone and they've also returned. So yes, I think the financial reward may be the reasons or one of the reasons why a lot may be leaving, but some also would like to take on new challenges. And maybe as you grow, you like to do something different. I mean, in other professions too, I know others at a point in time may quit and do other things as well. So I think it may differ from the individual.
Has social media changed the face of journalism? Or does it present any challenge to journalists at all?
I think it has. It has changed journalism a lot. And so for example, if you are a media house and you want to check all your sources to be sure of a story, by the time you realize it's already on social media. And if you want to keep pace with social media, then you may also publish some things or broadcast some things that stories that may not be entirely true, or you may not have the facts, and it may injure injure your reputation as a media house.
Mm.
So I think that these days people don't wait so much to go on a website and or listen to radio before they get their stories. It's all over the place. People can just accident scenes, people just take photographs and put it on social media, and it's already out there. And so, yes, it has changed the media space a lot, social media has. Yes.
In town, we see a number of visually impaired people who move with one fully sighted person as a bit of an aid or a guide. What is your own story? Do you do everything yourself? Do you do everything unaided? How is life for you, especially around the office on a typical working day?
Thank you very much, Stephen. So, depending on the environment that I find myself, I may need help.
Okay.
So if I'm home, for example, I don't know what kind of help I may need in terms of moving around or doing the daily things that I have to do.
Okay.
I don't need assistance for that. If I should get to my office, I know the environment.
Okay.
And so I also do not need people to hold my hand, move here and there before I'm able to do things on my own. However, if I'm going to environment that are not friendly, I may need assistance. But even that, if you have your resources, and for example, if you want to use any of those online how do you call it, the drivers online, the online apps.
Is it the
driving.
GPS? The GPS.
Okay, so I want to talk about if you are using like
Uber or Bolt
or Yango or any of these things.
Yeah.
All that you need to do these days is to request. It comes to your environment, you jump in it, it takes you to exactly the place that you want to go. So when you get there, you can just ask somebody or the driver to lead you to the reception. And I think the receptionist or wherever you are going from there, they should be able to assist you to do the things that you do. But if you have to go and struggle for trotro and move away along before you go and take a taxi somewhere, then surely you need somebody to assist you. So it is because of our environment. When we are building, we don't make them accessible to persons with disabilities. Some people also do not know how to offer assistance. Even when you go out, when you go to some offices and you go with somebody, they wouldn't even ask you what you want. They would rather want to communicate
with the guide.
Your aid, yes. And sometimes it's very, very offensive. Because if I come to your banking hall and I'm coming to withdraw money and you ask me, you ask the person, what does he want? Then I respond that, okay, so I'm coming to withdraw money. And then you go ahead and ask my other person, does he thumbprint with left or right? Or how much is he withdrawing? Or after you've taken the money, you give it to my aide to count it for me. I mean, these are all experiences that I've been through. And it's sometimes offensive.
Yeah.
Because you ask the question for the first, I've answered you. So why do you keep on communicating through my aid to me?
That's right.
So it is lack of education on how to help persons with disabilities. That is why sometimes you need aid to aid you around. Yes.
You are now a family man. How long have you been married?
Oh, I usually don't, like I told you, my journalism, when I started, we have to calculate it together. So I got married a week before 2017. So I think we can calculate that also.
A week before 2017. So is that 2016 and a half or 2017?
Yes,
that is interesting. So from 2016 up until this time, we are looking at some 8 years or almost.
Yes, that is
6 years or almost.
No,
6
So
years.
let's say from 2017. So
okay, that's about 5 years.
Yes, 5 years. Yes.
5 years. Oh, okay.
6 years.
You are the father of 2 beautiful daughters. I like the way you scripted it. 2 beautiful daughters. Wonderful. How is family life for you?
Oh, it's good. Family life is good. I am grateful to God that He knows me and prepared somebody special for me. And so I'm very, very grateful to God. I have a very beautiful family life. And I thank God for the blessings He has put on my way, my wife, my children, if that is the ones that we are talking about. But of course, I also have I have very supporting parents and siblings as well. And my wife and my kids are also now taking over, and it's been very exciting.
How is journalism? I want you to give me the comparative reality of journalism to you when you were single and journalism to you after you married. Any difference or similarities?
Okay, so before I got married, I was doing a lot when it comes to journalism.
Okay.
So I could even close at 9 p.m. because those days I could, I sometimes read our 8 o'clock bulletin, which was an hour.
Okay.
So I was sometimes closing very late. I was also going almost every day. But now my show is just once a week. Okay. So a lot of the things are done in the house, and then I go and record and come home. So I'm more in the house. I don't see much difference, but of course, when you marry, your life is a bit different from when you are single.
That's right.
So, surely things might have changed a bit, but not as to my work. It has not had any impact on my work. Yes.
Is there anything within the 15 years you've practiced journalism? Is there anything or any role, assignment you have undertaken or responsibility you have been given that if you were given a second shot at it, you would do much better than you did?
Yes, as human beings, we keep improving each day. And there are a lot of things, as I indicated, because I did not go to journalism school at the initial stage. You didn't know a lot of things. So you just learn on the job. Yeah. So yes, I'm sure there are a number of things or stories or assignments or programs that I could have even I could have done it better. Even these days, of course, you are doing all that you can, but you still want to improve upon each program. You want to ensure that each program you have is better than the previous one. That's right. So that as a human being, you don't retrogress, but you always progress and then to better yourself. Yes. So I think that I may not be able to be specific, but I think that each day is an opportunity for us to improve on ourselves.
I'll pull the brakes here. This has been exciting. This is a special edition, very special colleague with me here today, Paul AnomahKordieh. He has set a certain record in the Ghanaian media, maybe in Africa, I'm not too sure. For me, the first time I saw him read news on television, I had to wipe my face well to be sure I was seeing right. Why was he passing his hands on something and reading as if everything seemed strange to me? But that is his reality. And he has been able to convert that reality into an exciting profession. Thank you very much, Paul, for this opportunity.
Thank you very much, Stephen. It's a great opportunity to be on your platform. And I know that you are doing a great work, and
thank you.
It has surely paid off. I would like to thank all those who have supported me to get to this level. And I believe that there is opportunity for everybody. If we give everybody an equal opportunity, we'll be able to unearth talents that we've never seen before. So just appealing to media owners and those who are in the media also to pay attention to issues affecting persons with disabilities. There are many stories and many things going on in the disability community that if they turn there, they will also see and report. And also there are a lot of talent also. And so media owners should also look into those areas as well, and they will find talents they never dreamt it exists. Thank you so much for the opportunity, Stephen.
This has been PENSDOWN, Journalism Journeys. That is what we talk here. And today I've had the privilege of speaking to Ghana's first ever visually impaired television newscaster and program host, Paul AnomahKordieh. We'll be back next time. Another colleague will be on the seat and we'll be talking their journalism journey. Thank you for joining us. Goodbye.
Oh, okay.
By the grace of God.
By the grace of God. So, okay, those of you who want the more money, maybe the money is flowing. So let's look at names and it's significant. What does the Bible say? Let me start with you, Prince Worship, Reverend Prince Worship.